Lighting is a very important part of photography because how lighting is used can do a lot to an image. It can change one image from feeling one way to a complete turnaround to feeling something really different. Now, in a video game, most of the time you don't have control of the lighting unless you're using a time of day function where you can move the sun. What does that do? Well, that changes where the light is based, so that will affect shadows, it will affect how bright things are, it will also affect the temperature because at the different times of day, depending on where the light is, the ambient colours in the game world will be altered. So that's a really good way of understanding how light affects your subject. Other games have what you call like a spotlight feature, so it's kind of replicating the flashbulb effect you would have if you were doing a photo shoot in real life. Some games like the Spider-Man game, the Miles Morales game had it, or the Jedi Survivor game, and these again are another way of adding an artificial light to illuminate a subject, but not just illuminate, add a colour, add a shadow. So when you're choosing how to light your subject, you have to think about that before you enter the photo mode, like how is your character looking on the screen at that moment. But then once you've done that, you've got to know what light does. If the light is in front of your character's face, what's going to happen? You're going to have a very clean, bright palette on your character's face. Everything's very visible, very bright. It's all nice and sort of commercial. Now, if you put the light to the left or the right hand side, what does that do? Well, where there is light and an object, there will be light and there will be shadow. If you had the light, say, on the left hand side of the image will have brightness and the right hand side will have shadow. And if you use contrast and you use other elements, that will alter the severity of that. And vice versa on the right. And why would this be something you'd want to do? Well, shadows are as important as light. Light creates shadows, and shadows create mystery because a shadow adds a dark element to an image and it creates something mysterious. It's the reason, if you watch a movie, like you could take two things. You can look at a magazine, a fashion magazine, and you can look at a TV or a movie, for example. Generally in fashion magazines, they have very brightly lit images because they want to emphasize the model as some sort of a piece of clothing or something, so they don't want any mystery or darkness. Whereas in films, for example, it's all about atmosphere, it's all about the tone. So using shadows like in film noir really adds something, and that's what you can do in your photography. If you add light in a sort of mysterious way, you can make an image feel more mysterious. But there is another place you can put the light. So if you have the light in the distance, you have your subject in front of you, and then your camera here, what does that mean? Well, that means the shadow is on the side that you're standing, so you can see the shadow. And what is that shadow called? It's called a silhouette. Silhouettes, they're not always easy to create. You need some kind of area where you have a very bright part and a very dark part. And you usually want to put your character in the middle. A doorway, a tunnel, an archway, these are all really useful places to do it, or in a space where there's the sun or a very bright light source behind your character, and then you just lower the exposure, increase the contrast, and then you can create a silhouette where there wasn't one initially. Silhouettes are really kind of clean and they emphasize the structure of your character. They also are mysterious because it's like one big shadow person. It's like someone from the shadow realm, like who are they? You don't really know. So those are the kind of main ones. You've got front lighting for commercial, you've got side lighting for atmosphere, you've got backlighting for silhouettes. You can also use backlighting without heavy contrast or exposure. That will create a sort of soft backlight that might illuminate the hair of your subject. They use that a lot in fashion, a lot in photo shoots. But really with lighting, the key to lighting is just finding a light source and then using it appropriately. How do you want your image to feel? Try different sources, try different temperatures, try different times of day, go to the same place and try lots of variations, because understanding how lighting works will make taking the picture easier for you. It will make it easier for you to capture the moment as you felt it, because lighting is part of the story as well.